At 16, I was buried in marijuana. I smoked every day, even at school, because I felt discarded, abandoned, and unseen in my own home. My parents gave us food and shelter, but I still felt unwanted, wounded, and without peace. I didn't know the Spirit then. I only knew I didn't want to be there. The streets became my comfort. Parties, weed, and people who lived like me. That was where I felt I belonged. By the time I reached the 11th grade, I was so deep in it that I got pregnant. My sister and her husband helped me confirm it, staying overnight so they could be there when I told my parents. The next morning, my mother went ballistic. She shouted that she wasn't taking care of any baby. My father, my guy, the one who had always been there, said, "I'm not babysitting. Don't ask me to babysit." My sister offered to take the baby, but my mother refused. She said I would raise my own child. I was angry, fighting in school, even while pregnant, until they pulled me out for fear I'd lose the baby. Eventually, I was homeschooled, then returned for my senior year. I had my baby girl, and she was healthy. Her father and his family supported us, and even my mother bought some things for her. For a while, I stopped smoking, but later I went back. Even though my father said he wouldn't babysit, he became the main babysitter. My daughter clung to him, but she refused to let my mother touch her. At just 2 or 3 years old, she would sit in a chair for hours rather than let my mother feed or hold her. It was unbelievable, but it showed me she felt what I felt, rejection. I always longed for my mother's love. I tried everything to please her, but I never received kind words, never heard, "I love you," never felt her care. That pain still brings tears to my eyes. My daughter gave me someone to love, but I still carried the ache of not being loved myself. At 17, my mother tried to push me into the military, telling me to leave my baby behind. I refused. I raised her myself, graduated, tried to work, and kept going. My parents even bought me a car, but I never stopped smoking weed. I buried myself in it, even while caring for my child. I went to parties, danced, smoked, and hung in the streets. The father of my child stayed with me, and we had one thing in common. Both loved to get high. He was my first, and he was the one I got pregnant by. The isolation was real. Even with my brother, we never got along. He was my mother's boy, and I was my daddy's girl. That separation still exists to this day. I gave up trying, but love still abided in me. My daughter and I were together. Where I went, she went. My mother stuck to her word. She never kept her again. By then, I had checked out. Nothing mattered anymore, whether anybody loved me or not. I had my baby, my weed, school, and then work. No matter how I tried to fit into groups, I was always hated. It felt like people hated me on sight. I did get another boyfriend after separating from my baby's father. She was about 2 when I fell in love with a hustler from the streets. He smoked weed too, but he loved me deeply. Then he got in trouble and went to prison. So, it was just me and my daughter. My dad still worked, but my mother hated him, though she had never even met him. I never tried to bring him home. Years later, at age 56, he came to see me. I took him to meet my mother. My father had already passed. Her words cut deep. "You finally made it out of prison. I remember that letter she wrote to you about me." He stood there, lost for words. She spoke of something 30 to 45 years ago, making him feel like nothing. And me too. She hated anyone who loved me. Even now at 63, that rejection lingers. I hung out, getting high and partying all the time. Even classmates didn't like me. I was never the one to have a group. I would have one friend or a boyfriend, but never more. I lived in a hollow world, alone. It's hard to explain what it feels like to be hated as a child. People loved my siblings, but not me. Imagine being in the wilderness. No guidance, no love, no acceptance. The one person who loved me was gone. And still, I didn't know God. This was the wilderness of my mind. I went to every prison he was at, visiting him for years. I still didn't know God. I only knew I was hated, with a child and alone. If it wasn't for my daddy, my mother would have thrown me and my child out the door. I don't know what I did, other than to be born into the wilderness. It feels like from the moment I arrived, I was set apart, struggling to find belonging or understanding. No matter how hard I tried, it seemed the world refused to embrace me, leaving me constantly searching for warmth, acceptance, and my heart longing for a place called home.